is the younger generation, the generation today, will they find that harder to do because of social media and the impacts it has on their personal profile?
Well, anytime you puff yourself up, you're going to attract events to humble you, to teach you how to be authentic. Your physiology, your psychology, the sociology around you will keep giving you feedback when you're not authentic to get you back to being authentic. You know, when you just think about it this way, if you got a customer and you puff yourself up and think you know better than the customer then withdraws, doesn't buy from your products, and humbles you. And then you get, if you go too far the other way and you sacrifice for the customer and minimize yourself, you don't make a profit. So nature forces those through time. So even if people go on the social media as a vehicle, they're going to still learn through feedback that the one that's going to be most sustainable is the one that's authentic. So we're, even with social media, we're going to still get that lesson. So I don't think we can avoid that. That we may be tempted, but we won't sustain. If we want to have sustainable fair exchange in the world, which is what gives us the advantage, we're going to learn how to be ourselves and maximizing caring. You know, if we exaggerate ourselves and minimize others, we're careless. If we minimize ourselves and exaggerate others, we're careful. But if we equalize those, we're caring. And I always say that's what keeps rings on the finger, caring, not to careful or careless. So I'm a firm believer that nature is going to force you to get true over time. You can fake it for a while and you think you can pull it off, but you get humbled on that. So I don't waste my time on that. I don't find that puffing myself up or beating myself up is where it's at. I'd rather self-govern myself. I used to have, when I was in practice, I learned, you know, indirectly, I'd have this big day in practice years ago, this is 40 years ago, and I'd start to feel, you know, I'm somebody. And I'd, you know, be thinking about myself, and I'm driving home in my fancy car, and my wife would nail me. She'd just slam me. You know, you didn't do this, you forgot that, and everything else. I'm thinking, what's going on? She's toxic. And she wasn't toxic. I was just puffed up. And she was doing her job to get me authentic, which is what relationships are about. And then I would have a down day the next day, and I'd beat myself up. But whoa, what a day. What a hell of a day. And she'd lift me up. And so I was noticing my relationship was giving me feedback. When I was above equilibrium, she brought me down. When I was below equilibrium, she lifted me up. I also noticed that when I was up and cocky, I started having patients dismiss and cancel, and they were humbling me. And then I started getting humble. I started thinking about my clients and focusing on them, and then they'd come back in. So I finally learned, before I would go away from the office, if I felt puffed up, what client did I not care about it fully today? What name did I not remember? What birthday did I forget? What staff member did I thank? I created a checklist of things to go through if I felt puffed up, to bring myself back into equilibrium. And the same thing in reverse. If I felt really down, I asked, well, who did I care about today? What did I accomplish? And I'd governed myself, and my business became stable. It was amazing to watch. As I governed myself, my business became more stable. When I didn't, the world around me did. If you're not governing yourself from the inside, you're forced to be governed from the outside. People who govern from the inside become leaders. People that govern them from the outside become followers. You're either following a culture or building a culture. So people who have self-governance and live from an executive function, not just an amygdala, impulsive and reactive state, they're the ones that end up having the most mastery, most authenticity, most fair exchange, and they end up being grateful for life.